even when I'm not making lo-fi, you know, 3 plugins just add so much to your music.
I'm feeling like Pac today.
I'm feeling like Biggie, got me feeling like Dre.
I'm feeling like Snoop today.
Jamming out to Timberland, let me put you in the game, look.
Alright, yo, what's up, you guys? So, a lot of people have actually recently started hitting me up on my DMs, whether it be on TikTok, Instagram. People want to know what my favorite effects are when I'm adding that extra flavor onto my beats. And to be honest, there's 2 main plugins that I use if you want to give it that extra sauce. A lot of you guys have taken notice into the fact that I use the RC20 Retro Color by Excellent Audio. Other times I use Cassette by Waves Factory. I'm going to be demonstrating today the RC20. I know there's a lot of videos out there, but I want to compare it to Cassette. It has a lot of potential in it, especially for those people that are interested in making lo-fi. Just the capabilities of adding like style and flavor. And then if you don't have that money to shell out and you don't want to spend money, I'm going to be showing you guys Izotope, and I believe it's just called Vinyl. It's a free plugin available on their website. It's very limited, but it still has a lot of capabilities. So today we're going to be getting into that. So we're back over here. We're back at the house. We're going to knock out a few sessions, and then I'm going to sell some beats and then be on my way. I technically have like 2 sessions lined up for today, but you never know who's going to show up. Let's get it. Yesterday when I brought a bunch of stuff back to the main studio, I finally decided to open my pops. Say what's up to the whole gang, you know, the gang is all here. Oh, and then I also put up my little Rise of Skywalker poster that I got. Welcome to the Death Star. Let's get it. Let's start off with the RC20. So here we have the melody that I'm using. So this is how it sounds just on its own. The default is going to be the vinyl one, but if you click on it, it gives you all these presets, right? But you can also customize them. It has all these different parameters as far as like how much noise you want to add. Give it that flair, give it that flavor basically. And it has different versions of it: vinyl, tape, tube, VHS, a C90 cassette tape, 8-bit. Just like your typical white noise, and then you can add and increase the levels. You can modify it to your liking, add wobbles, you can distort it, you could add reverb to it, and you could even make it sound a little bit magnetic. But what's really cool about it is that in the master, you can actually EQ the highs and lows of how much you want it to affect, either the highs and ends, and then you can adjust the tone. But what's also cool is that you have the magnitude, and that can pretty much limit and give you full control of how much of this effect you're adding to your sample. Let me just give you like a simple demo, like something quick that I could show you right now. Alright, so this is pretty much how I have it to my liking at this moment. But let's say I want to bypass it to listen to the original and compare it to what I just added. Now, as you can see, it just gave it a lot more flavor than what it already had. And that alone will boost your tracks and give it that extra push, extra flavor that it needs. When you hear producers like Alchemist talk about running their samples through a flux capacitor, idiotic movie references from Back to the Future, it's plugins like these. Now this one's gonna run you about $100, but honestly, it's very much worth it. But if you don't feel like spending $100, there's another plugin created by Waves Factory, the Waves Factory Cassette. Kenny Beats actually used it on one of his episodes of The Cave. For a plugin that's half the price of the RC20, it actually has a lot of capability and it adds a lot of sauce to your melodies. Now what I like about this is, if you know me, I like to sample records, vinyl, and I like to sample cassette tapes. I have a huge collection of them. What this does, it allows you to basically give it that lo-fi feel, But not only that, it gives you different versions of cassettes. It's gonna bring you to your default. Now I could change the type of cassette, so you can switch it to home, pro, or even a micro. And then what's really cool about this plugin is that it has an erasures knob, so it maxes you out at 20. And erasures pretty much means how many times you have already recorded on that cassette tape. If you keep it at 0, it would be a perfectly brand new, fresh out the packaging cassette tape. And let's say I've used this multiple times and now I've reached my 20 recordings. And so obviously by this point the cassette tape's gonna sound old. But let's say I don't want the distortion to spread that wide. Let's run it to 50%. And then the stability of the tape inside the cassette, you can also adjust that. And then how much static and the dynamic properties of your melody. So it also has all these, your depth, your rate, the flutter depth, the crosstalk, and then your random snaps, because it has a tendency of dipping, which would be similar to the follow and duck knobs on the RC20. It's a really cool plugin. It basically mimics the wobbles, the distortion, and the noise and magnetic features of the RC20. Any sort of reverb on this plugin, you would have to actually add a reverb to it. But for half the price of the RC20, you're still getting a lot for your money. Now let's say you don't have any money to spend, you're on a budget, you just want to try out, you're not really like ready to go all in on spending money on these plugins. There's actually a free plugin by Izotope. It's called Vinyl. You can download it on their website and it basically gives you the sound of a vinyl record. Now what's cool about this is that you can adjust it how you want it to modulate your sample. You could choose what era of vinyl you're using and then you can adjust the RPM, whether it rotates at 33, 45, or 78 rotations per minute. And you can add the mechanical noise. You could add the wear. You could add some electrical noise. And now you want some dust. But you can also adjust the amount. And then let's say this is already an old record and you've scratched it multiple times. Let's hear what the sample sounds like without. And then let's add in. And let's hear it with some drums. As far as a free plugin goes, that actually has a bunch of really cool features. And it does make your melodies sound different, like a lot more different than what it was without it. If that's something you're interested, like I said, it's free on the Izotope website. It's a free download. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are actually my 3 favorite plugins that I like to use. Even when I'm not making lo-fi, you know, I feel like each one of those 3 plugins just adds so much to your music. If you're looking for like an all-in-one plugin, I'd definitely recommend the RC20. If you're just trying to barely get your hands wet, I would recommend the cassette by Waves Factory. Even whether you're into it or not, I'd still recommend getting Vinyl by Izotope because it's a really cool plugin and it's free, you know? So yeah, so that's pretty much what I use and what I've been using lately. So those are my my 3 favorite plugins that I've been using as of recently.
I used to talk to Jaya. Used to ride the bus so I could meet her at the mall so we could kick it for an hour, maybe 2. Probably would've told her that I love her if I ain't seen the way she acted after school. Damn, there were some better days. Used to be some better days, now we just got better ways.